U.S. Vice President Joe Biden and his gun task force met with leaders in the video game industry and researchers of violent video games to discuss their possible role in the recent shootings in Newtown and other incidences of violence. So, that was a closed-door meeting.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what went on, but Chris Ferguson, a professor at Texas A&M and a leading researcher on violent video games, was there, and he was interviewed by Kotaku. So, to describe the sit-down with the vice president, he said, "I think on one hand, the vice president was sort of interested in, I guess, what you might call a fact-finding kind of thing, and was curious to learn about the research and the researchers who were there. I think he was inviting the industry to consider basically ways that it could improve its image among non-gamers." And the vice president had said he was agnostic about whether or not violent video games could lead to real-world violence, which I don't agree with, but it's probably wise for someone in his position to take.
Yeah. So in advance, last week, in advance of the actual meeting, when I was on the Young Turks, I talked about I didn't like that they were doing this. I felt like it was possibly a sign that Biden or Obama or just a general theme in the administration that they were willing to buy into this as an explanation for at least some portion of the violence that we have in the country. And as a person who likes video games and doesn't want to see them censored as they are in other countries, I was worried about that. And Cenk Uygur said, no, he's probably just doing this because he wants to seem fair and balanced. We're going to talk about gun regulations. We're also going to talk about the media. We're covering all of our bases. And I didn't believe that at first. And it looks like, so far, I was probably wrong. The fact that he described himself as agnostic and that he didn't immediately come out of the meeting and say, here's what Hollywood needs to do and here's what BioWare needs to do, I think is a good sign. And it's possible that in the days to come, something like that will come out. I hope that it doesn't. But so far, it seems like this is probably fair. It was okay that this happened. And if they are focusing not on video games causing violence and we need to stop them, but rather on what can these game companies do to manage their image, that's certainly not a bad thing for these companies to think about.
I don't know that I agree with that, because what is he saying? Like, make it so you look more innocent to people who don't understand games at all?
Maybe.
Why shouldn't they go educate themselves? Why do I have to cater to their ignorance?
That's what most of modern life is, I think, having to cater to people's ignorance.
Well, I don't know.
I think that there are people who don't know anything about video games, are not interested in video games, and unless they occasionally pick up a Wiimote for some golf or something like that, they never have any connection to it.
The elderly do love Wii Sports.
They do.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I played some with my grandparents, actually. But they're probably never going to learn much about video games, and so I think that the best that we can do is be proactive to have it be harder for them to make the case linking these two things. I don't know that that's possible.
Well, what would they do to allegedly improve their image to non-gamers?
No, that's a tough row to hoe when you've got like guys with guns on the covers of the games and stuff like that. Well, it's difficult to do. I don't know.
Is he like putting them into a trap? Like, first of all, how the hell do you do it? And if they attempt to maybe improve their image somehow, I don't know how. Like, turn a shooter into a paintball shooter? It's just. They
have had those.
It's ridiculous.
They're not generally very good.
Well,
although GoldenEye did have paintball mode, and that was kind of fun. Look, it's fun for us to speculate about this, but we have to be fair to Joe Biden. Joe Biden had this meeting, and he can give closed-door advice to the game manufacturers all he wants. He's not responsible for what they do coming out of this meeting. So I think we should only judge Joe Biden on this meeting. And if it is true that he's just trying to be fair and being seen to investigate all potential explanations, even if I totally disagree with this being linked to violence, I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world that they had the meeting, I would say.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. I try to be fair.
And balanced?
Yeah.
Okay.